Hello, listeners. We're back. I am Billy Mills Curran. I'm joined with Adrian, aka NeonMushroom, and we're going to do a hardcast episode for you, dear listeners. Aren't you lucky? Say hello, Adrian.
What's going on, Hardcast? Big fan, Billy. I've listened to, I think, all but 2 episodes total. If my Duress Crew page, the little red lines at the bottom of the videos are telling the truth. I think I've got 2 more to watch. I'll be caught up. So I'm super stoked to be on Hardcast.
Are they on the docket, or are you just like, no, fuck that?
Oh no, they're very much on the docket. It's just like when I got into like enjoying pre-modern, there was so little content, and now there's like multiple great channels I have to like catch up on every week because I try to keep up with everything. So it's just a time thing.
Yeah. So I invited you on, sort of doing a little content swap. Let me think. I have like so much to talk about. Okay, so we're recording on February 18th. Probably gonna publish after the Duress Crew Regionals, so we don't know if any like cool, amazing tech has come out of that yet. We're gonna find out soon. I don't even know where to start. Okay, so the thing is that like the Shared Discovery boys got to you first.
They did. Gabe and Travis and them they reached out and they said, yo, hop on the podcast. That was, let me tell you, you want to talk about a wild ride? They put me in a bunch of weird spots and used a lot of inside jokes I wasn't in on, and I appreciate it and I hated it a little bit. So shout out to the Shared Discovery crew.
They're good lads. They're
great. They're awesome dudes.
I think that I think that their head's screwed on straight about just like refusing to take anything too seriously. And they're like, they're jovial and they're silly and they're fun. I like them quite a bit. Everybody listen to Shared Discovery if you want more pre-modern content.
The only downside of the Shared Discovery guys is if you're in the Tireless Tribe Discord where they're very active, you have to mute channels sometimes because that is an active Discord.
They're hot.
They're hot. They're always chatting, which is really cool if you want to learn about the newest hot decks, like the Green White Madness deck that's been taken off.
Yeah, the Patrol Hound deck.
Mad Dogs. I think is what Travis said.
What I like about it is it seems to me to be almost a response to like MTGO Sly. And it's like, Patrol Hound again? Like, said the Sly player. It's like delightful.
Yeah. My ball lightning can't get in, damn.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like normally because historically, like the Crybaby card was like Silver Knight. And that's 2 white pip. It's like, okay, Mother of Runes, eat your medicine, bolt it right away. But Silver Knight was the one that just like was a real stinker. But your Patrol Hound is so funny. It's like, like nothing you get in.
Card's awesome.
Yeah, it's a cool card too.
Yeah.
Pretty good and limited, I think. I don't know. I think I only drafted Odyssey like twice in my life.
Oh yeah, that's 2 more times than I've drafted it. So good for you.
Yeah, cool. So I actually am going to be a little bit less for topics. I shared with you the show notes. I have a few things I want to talk about. Less biographical because I don't want to. If you want some more context to this, our listeners can listen to Shared Discovery and learn more about you. But I want to give just a little bit of background. So you stream YouTube or you stream on Twitch.
I do.
You have a YouTube channel.
Yep.
And you have several online handles. So what is the difference between NeonMushroom and Fluorescent Fungus? What's going on there?
It's a giant garbage fire, Billy. So when I started the NeonMushroom channel, this is back when I was a tiny 5-second history. I started Commander content and then kind of moved on to, because I'm more of a 60 card player anyway. NeonMushroom was meant for like modern and stuff like that, but when I discovered pre-modern, it was so far separated from my modern fan base and people who liked watching standard that it kind of felt like it needed its own home. And then I started Fluorescent Fungus, which for anyone who doesn't know, that's like a synonym. NeonMushroom, Fluorescent Fungus. It's kind of the same thing, said different.
Yeah.
And then that channel accidentally became my main channel. but everyone's so used to calling me Neon Mushroom, even though the channel you can watch me on YouTube is Fluorescent Fungus. It's quite confusing, and at some point I need to do something about that, but I have been way too lazy to. So
got it.
That's on me.
The modern and pre-modern players have just nothing in common. It's like they have to go through Legacy to start.
Yep.
Yeah. So I want to give a little bit more context to our listeners. So I have to travel to Grand Rapids, Michigan, several times a year for work. And I was bored in my hotel room and watching Twitch streams because MTGO had just started to host pre-modern. Yeah. And everybody's saying I knew of you as like a YouTube channel, but I didn't understand that you really were the only big and effective pre-modern streamer. Like Caleb Durward occasionally streamed pre-modern on Twitch.
Yeah.
Same thing with Andrea Maguchi. But they are more like Magic creators, whereas
they're like Magic variety streamers.
Exactly.
They're just popular in general.
Yeah. Whereas you have more of a niche or a more targeted channel identity. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, when I started Fluorescent, I thought it would be like pre-modern in other off-kilter formats, but pre-modern ended up being enough for me. I have not yet felt the need, and I'm done for over a year. I've been doing daily pre-modern content, and I still have not come close to feeling the need to venture elsewhere to find variety for content. So it's just all pre-modern. That's the only format I play recreationally anymore.
Yeah. So I was like looking, and like a whole bunch of people were streaming, but people were saying like, no, like watch NeonMushroom. And I was aware of your content prior, but I didn't, with the asynchronous nature of like hosted MTGO leagues. It was like everybody was on, and your channel I think might have been number 1 or number 2 for a couple days for Magic streaming. But because that's crazy. Well, people were.
I did not know that. That's news.
Well, I mean, like I'm certain you noticed like a spike when it was announced, right?
Oh, huge! It's been a huge spike, and I think I'd be surprised if there was some pre-modern creator that hasn't seen some type of bump, just because a lot of the bigger names, like spoiler alert, if it's been out for multiple days by the time this episode comes out, but the professor just put out his big pre-modern video. It's a delight, by the way. Go watch it. Mangu and Reed Duke and Rebel are all on there. There's a Michael J. Flores reference by Rebel. It's such a blast. But like just that video I saw a spike from. So it's mainstream's a strong word, but the format itself, it's so nice to see so many more people enjoying the format. And spoiler alert, I get paid a little bit more when that happens, so that's nice too.
Yeah. Let me think on the Spotify metrics or whatever. I did see so a market, as you like approach saturation, you get this sort of like inverse exponential decay. So I don't know. It looks like the logarithm.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And then, but when I saw that, it was like it almost like it cut there, and then it started a new like piecewise function. It started a new slope that is kind of decaying. I've seen like a couple of weird bumps. Like we did the Lore Horse episode, and that had a discrete like 10 subscriber jump. That was like
sick.
What's this about? Okay, so that is one of the major. This is a great lead in to one of the major topics that I wanted to discuss.
Here we go.
Yeah,
the heavy stuff.
I wanted to check in with you because you have a much more nuanced and much more sophisticated take than me or any of my friends on this topic. So Premodern came to MTGO, I think, on like December 7th or something like that.
Yeah, it's right in that area. I think you're exactly right.
Yeah. So Hardcast did like an emergency episode, and I just listened to it just like an hour ago to like re-review some of my takes.
Right.
And I wanted to run some of... I was the voice of opposition. I did not, at that moment, like that Premodern was coming to MTGO.
Ooh, interesting. That's really interesting.
Yeah. And I wanted to run by some of my claims against you. And I want to hear what you think on sort of a like ass take, like maybe like the temperature of the take, and then like how good you think the take was, if that makes sense.
No, this should be fun. Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So let me think. Is there any more context that I want to add? No, not really. Okay, cool. So one of my claims was the sky is not falling. Hot or cold, good or bad?
Hard. The sky not falling. Hard agree.
Hard agree.
Even if whether you're pro or against, MTGO having Premodern and all that entails. I think to have such an extreme take that you think the sky is falling, I think it's good to keep a level head. No, I do agree with that.
Okay, good. I thought that was a reasonable take.
I think that's a very balanced, level-headed approach.
I just remembered the piece of context I wanted to add is that you play a lot of Premodern in paper, and that you have your own local Premodern scene. And I have been there and witnessed it. And for context listeners, Adrian is well-adjusted and liked at his store. People were happy to see him. He wasn't like some weirdo that nobody wanted to hang out with. They were like, oh, what's up, dude? Like, you're here to jam. So that's an important piece of context for my next take.
Billy just outed me for having friends.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good piece of context that you're like,
fair,
because like internet people can be
you're right.
Weird. So
yeah, that's fair. I see where you're going with that.
Yeah,
That makes
so
sense. I'm just a normal dude. I don't actually play a character. I'm just me on the channel.
That was something I was very, your online personality and your in-person personality are rather consistent.
Nice.
Yeah. Like
the mask works.
Yeah.
Good,
yeah, I'm certain you're a human being with a range of emotions, and they have bad days and stuff like that. And you don't post videos if you're like upset about something,
Generally, I try not to.
Yeah. It doesn't make for good content.
No.
Yeah. So, okay. So that leads me into, that's context for my next take. Rando spikes are gonna show up.
Oh, yeah.
Do you agree with that take? And what is the temperature of that take?
In terms of rando spikes, now is this still centered around the Magic the Gathering online conversation?
Actually, here's a fuller explanation of the claim. So the claim is due to MTGO Premodern becoming officially hosted on MTGO, rando spikes are going to show up to paper tournaments.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely correct. We have seen it locally. So I think that you're absolutely right. I think that's actually a very reasonable take. It might vary from region to region. We're both from, you more than me, but the area of Michigan I'm in very much is the Metro Detroit area. So we've got a good population, good size, and you're in New England, so it's got to be bumping literally everywhere you go. There's spikes there. There's going to be spikes there, and they're going to want to grind. But I personally welcome it. I actually love it because our spikes are generally reasonable hangs. So it's kind of okay. We don't have our spikes are also like the cool guys to hang out with. We're a little bit lucky. I don't know if that's a Michigan thing or if that's just like every scene is like that, but people tend to think it's central to their scene when it's really all of the scenes. But we got a lot of really cool dudes that are absolute killers, just fucking killers. But no, good take, hard agree. I don't think it's a bad thing though.
Okay. Why? I think I'm neutral on whether it's good or it's bad. But why do you say that this is a good thing? That I guess. Yeah.
I guess my bias shows. So you wouldn't know it from watching me on my channel. I'm not certainly not the strongest player you've ever seen for pre-modern. A lot of this has to do with because of the way the channel is run and the way I do things. I have to try to play everything, and if you're new to pre-modern, everything entails a lot. It entails a huge range of things you need to be able to do. So instead of trying to be cracked at the game, I just try to be like reasonable enough to hopefully give people enough information and to know whether or not they want to, buy into a deck or not, and provide the entertainment value. But all my friends are dirty spikes, so it's probably a bias thing. A lot of the guys I know on a first name basis are like, we got a few, Pro Tour vets, like recent Pro Tour vets just in town and stuff. And I like those guys, so it doesn't bother me. But I'm coming from the perspective of I've always kind of like hung out with the very good players in my area. So maybe, Billy, I think I've got a problem here because I kind of got into pre-modern as the format started to kind of blow up, like getting in, I got in at the perfect time. Like I got so lucky. You and your crew have been in it much longer than I have. So you know what the culture was like before the last year of boom that the format's seen. And you know what the culture was like before that. So maybe I'm actually the wrong guy. Like, I think it's a fine take, and I think it's fine that spikes are doing the thing. But, like, maybe the culture was different a year ago, and there's like, some context I'm missing to that question. Because to me, it just makes sense. I used to be an RCQ grinder. That's sure. My past of Magic.
Yeah, maybe you are the spike as an RCQ. Yeah. It's... So you know sort of the stock social tale of like your favorite band blowing up, and you knew them when they were small, and that this is sort of a known cultural phenomenon of like having mixed feelings about that. So I think that this is the same thing as
okay, I see what you're saying.
And it's not that like we have a name. This is a known. It's the trope. It's a dramatic trope. And this is a known phenomenon because it elicits and it inspires this like kind of unique set of feelings where you're like, well, I'm stoked that, I guess I find it validating. It's like, yeah, like I have good taste in music and that I'm able to discern good art independent from a massive marketing budget. And it makes you proud of your city, and it makes you, proud of the club that they came out of or whatever.
Yeah, it's this it's this bittersweet feeling of losing something that was not quite yours, but like your community's, very close to you. And then it becomes everyone else's also, which I won't say dirties it, but it changes it into something fundamentally different. I've never had that with Magic necessarily, but I've certainly had it with actual, like, Detroit's a great city for music. I've actually seen that happen a couple times, so I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
And it's a different feeling, and what's interesting about it is that it's not like if I'm listening to this band before they got on the radio or something, it's not like the case of a finite resource. I use the example of like divvying up water, irrigation water, like that failed, like, what is it, the interstate compact that they're doing with the Colorado River. Like it's not that there's a finite amount of water and people will starve otherwise. Like people can have an enriching life playing modern or legacy or pauper or whatever. And yet somehow I feel some sense of, I don't know the word for it. It's like, it's validating to me. It's like, yeah, hell yeah, I was right. I have good taste in I don't know, games or whatever format.
That's so interesting to have that for Magic, but you've been in the game, you've been in this format and the culture. You haven't just been in the culture of this format. I think you were in the epicenter of how the culture for this format was developed in general.
In New England, I would say that Duress crew. So while I am flattered, I must deny the claim. I would state that the New England old school community, in my mind, are the Graybeards. I would say that Duress crew has a fully formed beard. I would describe you as with mustache. And anybody who has come along since the MTGO announcement is beardless. if this makes sense.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
so
totally fair.
While I'm incredibly flattered that you would think of me as, or Duress Crew more specifically, it's not totally true. Although we did get several weeklies kicked up, and for a long time it was like, we're going to bomb out this store until we make up a minority of the people who are showing up, and then we're going to go find another store.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So you're cool with these rando spikes showing up?
Yeah, but now that I've heard your perspective, I can see why that's even a question. When you first asked the question, I was like, where is this coming from? Yeah. But with the added context, like I get what you're saying. I wish I had gotten to pre-modern a little bit earlier. I guess is the thing.
It was a real treat getting Exalted Angel out of the bulk bin.
Yeah, I never had that experience.
Yeah.
For the first 4, I paid $4 a piece at bulk rate because my LGS didn't know what they had, and then for the next 8, I did not get that good a deal.
Yeah,
Exalted Angels.
But I don't know. I think this feeling about this change, I think it says more about me than it does about an abandonment of format social values or something like that. I think the best take does acknowledge some amount of self-critique, if that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I have been in pre-modern long enough to see when the format got launched on MTGO. I'm active on X, for Twitter, formerly known as Twitter.
Yep.
And a lot of the other places people congregate online. And watching, there was this mentality that the MTGO grinders were going to come and solve our format day one. Yep. Once it hits MTGO. And don't get me wrong, we've got some known MTGO grinders, great players like Medvedev, Novice, guys like that, who have been really not innovated. I think I would use that word, but they haven't really created anything brand new, except for Medvedev's slide deck with flame rifts and pyrostatic pillars. That's really cool. But for the most part, a lot of the names we see, like Emodian and his green-white Mad Dogs deck, continues to overperform. And this deck's list is being cultivated in a Discord group, much like the ones that I was in when I first got into the format over a year ago. So while it is annoying to hear some of the discourse online of the grinders are going to solve it, this format doesn't have legs to stand on. Well, it's been on MTGO for a while, and I've yet to see a boring top 8 for a challenge. I've yet to see it. They've all been awesome. I think they've been really cool.
This is a great transition to my take. So my next take, which I would like you to assess, is my claim was the meta will shift to game 3 optimal at a notably faster rate.
I think you're absolutely right. That's another take, but it's one of those things where I wonder if that's your take. I guess the thing I'm more interested in is, do you feel positive or negative on having that take?
I feel negative.
Okay. I agree, and I feel positive. So I think this is an interesting conversation to have, because I think we agree on everything but feel differently about the conclusions.
Why do you feel positive?
It's probably I definitely have some spike mentality that I am trying to get rid of. It helps to play a billion different decks online and have an active chat while I'm playing and get a feel for the fun of it. I think that really is part of what pre-modern's all about. But I like it because, liking it's the wrong word. I think pre-modern, in a weird kind of way, immune is a strong word, but the pool of cards is so large and hold for the 10 to 20 power outlier cards in the format. The power level tends to be so flat that as problem decks come up, I can see it in real time because I have to look at these. I have to look at the deck drops and in fact, I use the Duress Crew database as a resource when I'm looking at this. But when something becomes a serious problem, the format seems to, every time from what I've seen, do a really good job of calm that down. We have the tools to beat this thing that's problematic. And it becomes kind of, I won't start this conversation because I think every pre-modern podcast has talked about how pre-modern tends to be a very cyclical format where the top dog tends to change, with the obvious notable exclusions of, even if Dreadnought's not the best deck, it's at least the third best deck. Even if, Enchantress isn't the best deck, it's the third best deck or whatever. But the amount of viable decks that can win a tournament continues to be more than you think. Yeah. It's not you specifically, but the royal you.
Yeah.
People think, right? Yeah, I don't know. I just don't feel negative about it. But again, context. I'm compared to you. I am a newer player and newer to the culture and all that.
The way that I had the originating feeling for that statement. Have you seen There Will Be Blood?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so it's incredibly good. It's very long, and it's about an oil rush in California, and it involves Daniel Day-Lewis in cowboy.
Oh, hell yeah!
Trying to
very good.
Trying to scam these. I guess like the term would be like almost like peasants of people just like scraping a living out of the California desert. And he's trying to buy their land for, $1 an acre because he's the only one who knows that there's oil reserves under this tremendously huge area of land. So this is, I don't know, maybe 1905, something like that. I don't know.
Some very exploitative activities going on in this movie.
Yeah. And he is trying to capture as much land as he can because there's other speculators and prospectors out there. And there's a scene at the end where he, somebody who had a legitimate land claim comes back to him like 10 years later and says like, okay, Daniel Day-Lewis, I'm ready to sell you my land now. And he goes, it's dry. And they go like, what are you talking about? You said that my land had the most oil underneath it. And he goes, there's a very, he describes drainage and that he drank his milkshake. So that's kind of how, and he had slurped up all the oil out of his land through adjacent plots of land and the oil had percolated out. So that's kind of how I feel about, pre-modern, I don't know, doubling or tripling in size or whatever like that. That like maybe
some ridiculous figure like that.
Exactly. I don't know. I can't. It might have only just ticked up 15%. I could just be going crazy.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Truly cannot measure it. But like maybe like somebody's gonna figure out the exact that like I don't know mental note is dope in Terrageddon and like
right.
Yeah. And I could have had the joy of figuring that out. I could have gotten that bit of juice.
That is fair. That is fair. With
Yeah.
more minds working on it, there's less discoveries for us to make as the players who aren't maybe grinding just for value, but just enjoying the format in general.
Exactly. Yeah.
For the sake of enjoying it.
Yeah. And like
I see what you're
now,
saying.
maybe for a meta or for a down powered meta, mulch, maybe I could have figured out some like cool, I don't know, mulch threshold list that like maybe wasn't tier 1, but there was a window for it to be tier 2. And unless now like it will, the metagame will march towards game theory optimal at such a pace that like I might have some like really fun B tier ideas that might be able to hang a bit. And now I can only like show up with like the very best ideas, which maybe I've used them all. Maybe I don't have any left, So that is interesting because with pre-modern seeing more eyeballs, there's obviously going to be more people working on more things at once. Yeah.
Bigger mind factories getting together and tuning lists and stuff. And I never really thought about that. If you derive your enjoyment of the game out of like that really slow, meticulous crafting of different lists and trying out different tech at a pace that a full-grown adult with full-grown adult responsibilities can maintain, then I could see where that's a negative. I could definitely see where that's a negative. I'm not much of a brewer, so I don't have this actively on my mind as often. But that is a bummer. There's no way to like, if that's something you're concerned with, I think it's a valid concern, I guess is what I'm saying.
As time has passed, so that the MTGO dropped in December. It's now the middle of February. So I think that I'm glad I was moderate in my tone of that episode. I'm glad that I wasn't too hot with any of them.
Right.
And none of them were like too specific. if that makes sense. So I'm glad
your
I was
takes
chill.
tend to be pretty reasonable. I watched the.
Do you hear that? All of my friends, do you hear that? All of my takes are reasonable.
I think they're pretty reasonable. I listened to the entirety of the Spike Colony podcast you did with, was Andy Levine, the guys from Eternal Journals and Lanny. And like every take there, I was like, yep, that seems about, Parallax Tide getting banned. I was like, yeah, this all seems, I mostly just agree with everything that most people said. It was a room full of dudes just kind of making sense to me.
I
don't know.
I think it was a pretty well-informed group, and we all live and die on the internet with each other. So I think that we're all like pretty well exposed to each other, and like have a general idea. So it was a mature conversation, but there were like a lot of spicy takes got moderated out over the course of like years. Yeah. And also a lot of mutual respect. Like they're all good players and, either better at Magic than me or smarter than me or have various admirable qualities.
The only thing that podcast was missing was Michael J being there to give Lanny like the maximum amount of shit. Other than that, it was perfect.
Yes, they do enjoy an amplifying effect with each other, which makes
their content
listening.
very listenable.
Yes,
exactly.
Yeah. High engagement. Cool. So that was a bit about me, but I want to ask you about so what have you observed as a pre-modern focused content creator? What have you just in for the context-free listener, what have you noticed as somebody who is attuned to this? Like what have you seen?
Yeah, things changing. Okay, so I do have luckily the experience of playing in the CPS league, the community pre-modern series before it actually officially came to MTGO, playing in paper, kind of trying to cultivate a local scene, all that stuff, and also it coming to MTGO proper. A few things that I've noticed have changed. One of them, this is going to sound like a brag, I promise it's not, but I get a lot of people who queue up against me and know who I am. Big fish, small pond. It's like they'll know who anyone who does anything for it's not just me, it's any of the pre-modern guys. If they queued up against you, they'd be like, oh shit, it's Billy. Same thing.
Free win is what they would say.
They probably think the same thing about me, man. Especially, you came to my studio and 2 owed me and then 2 won me, so I can't talk at all. But their enjoyment. One thing that gets to me is a lot of people are like, oh, this is my like second game of pre-modern. And even through the MTGO chat, I can tell that they're very much enjoying it, which I'm stoked about. That's the thing I actually care the most about. Every time I hear a player was thinking about getting into the format, then they take that plunge and they have their first experience as a good one. I'm like, yes. They had the same thing happen to them that happened to me. This fucking rules. This is what it's all about in the first place.
I try to do that, dude. Like when it's actually my first PM event, I'll be like, hell yeah, dude. Like,
yeah, exactly. But that's the upside. The downside, something I have noticed that's changed, is because I wanted to lead on the good thing, which is people are still somewhat vocal, but I'm a content creator, so I have a skewed, people know who I am, so if I wasn't, I probably wouldn't engage as much. But when it was the CPL or CPS leagues, whatever you want to call it, the Community Pre-Modern Series, every single time you queued up into one of your opponents, the sidebar for MTGO was loaded because you're having a full-ass conversation if you're not in voice chat with the person you're playing with or whatever.
Yeah.
So the community part of pre-modern has, for better or worse, at least on an online level. Now, if we get to that, we will. But locally, like our paper scene is awesome. But online, it's kind of moving more towards modern standard, where you will just sit down for a game of pre-modern and not say a word to your opponent, and that's I think that is not what the format's about. I think you can approach this format very competitively, but I think that is an option, and that's like the 4th most important thing to be able to do playing the format. It's not even in the top 3. So we've lost something. It's hard to really point it exactly what it is, but it feels like we have lost something. Not to be the doomsday bringer or anything, but that is how I feel about it. That's my take on things that have changed. But more people are playing it, and that is cool. I think. I hope. I think it's cool. I don't know if you think it's cool, but I do.
I think there is a kind of self-validating maybe not self-validating, but actually better yet, there is an external validation that occurs where you're like, I know about this really cool format. There's all these like well-adjusted homies who there's a lot of joy to sitting down and like seeing people who have won Pro Tours choosing to play a $5 game of Magic with you. Like that's really fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot of joy with playing with a more mature player base who are much more.
I've enjoyed that as well.
Yeah, much more calm. It's not as it's not nearly as frantic because your cards are going to rotate. And I think that there is a bit of external validation that occurs when you are included in this really fun word of mouth community. And there was an amount of vetting that occurred because you only knew about it because a homie told you about it. So it's like, if I don't know you myself, somebody else in this room knows you. And it's like there was a very clear identifiable chain.
The whole who do you know here deal where it's almost like an initiation. You bring them in, and if they vibe with everyone else and there's a click, then it's like bam, you got a new guy or a new person, whatever it is, you got them. And there's some camaraderie there. It's like a club, but not in all the toxic ways you think about a club, and all the positive ways. So the community part, which is a huge part of the game in general. So
and it made it very easy for me to be like, we're getting food after. Like, you hungry? Come with, because I knew that you were personally friends with somebody there, and now I'm just like a bit more hesitant to do that. Like, I'll walk across the street, but like you're not coming to my house, you know? Like,
right, 100%. We have that here too. It's our pre-modern events are actually bigger than our contemporary format events. Like, pre-modern are our biggest local events. You came to one of them, and it wasn't like, after hearing, I was really happy till I like thought about the size of events they run out on the East Coast. But even so, we built ours from nothing as well. So, having like 34 players is like really cool for us. We were happy with it, and we're really lucky. It's grown so slowly that I'm on a first name basis with everyone that shows up to these events. Every time I see a new person, I don't even have to go introduce myself because the community we've built kind of just does that on their own. They're integrated very quickly. And if you're not a very nice person, we've got some people I wouldn't want to meet in a dark alley that hang out there too. Just like people that are going to look out for theirs. You know what I mean? Like, don't be rude. Everyone wants to be nice to each other there. And that's what I have talking to like Andrew, Heavy Play, the Portland crew, and the Ohio crew. I'm on the same day as your regional event. We've got the Buckeye Brawl in Columbus, which will have already happened. Hopefully I won. We'll see what happens. I don't even, at the time of the recording, I don't even know what I'm playing. But the every time I hear a story about one of these communities, it's like, it seems like the same thing that's kind of being built here. I don't know if it's centric to the format or it tends to be how these, because I tried to build my scene based on what I've heard about how you guys did yours, especially how I got in contact with like David Cross from the Portland scene, and literally asked him like, how do I even run this event? Because every time I've reached out, people have been not just super gracious and open, but they have been like almost aggressively helpful, if that makes sense. Like when I contacted Jay from Duress Crew, because I'm interested, I'm going to be doing some live streaming later on in the year. And I was like, I love the LobsterCon setup. Jay gave me a write-up of how to not just build the setup, but how to run it. Like, without me asking. He was just like, here you go, dude. I was like, wow, that's so much work that you just sent me on like a whim. And that's been my experience in pre-modern. So we kind of tried to cultivate the same thing here locally, and so far, successfully so. So I actually, by the way, I don't know if this needs to be said, pre-modern on MTGO, whether you like it or not, whatever, paper pre-modern is by a factor of 1,000 the better way to play the format. It's not close. It's not close.
Not even close. I was in conversation with Rich Shea, and we had some a thought came out of the conversation where it was the goal is to indoctrinate, like, we're this like cool, I'm gonna say cool, but I mean temperature. So we're of some temperature where it's like we're calm, we're chill, we're cool, we're hanging out and enjoying the fellowship of good company. And these hot spiky players might come in hot off the tournament grind. And we should cool them and bring them to our room temperature. And that was kind of my concern about MTGO, was that like the influx of new players would raise the temperature of the room before like we could really teach them how to get like maximal joy
the culture.
out of it.
Yeah. Have you guys experienced that over by your stomping ground? At the Duress Crew events?
I no longer know like absolutely everybody. Having LobsterCon sell out really fast was definitely really shocking.
That was insanely fast.
Yeah. And
I heard you guys got some shit for it, which is crazy. Clearly, you've done nothing wrong, but that's just my take.
I think that if you don't have all of the context, there's a lot of if you don't have all of the context, one can readily arrive to a spicy take, and that spicy take could be in good faith, but not.
I think we need less spicy takes. I think 2026, less hot takes, more room temperature takes would be good.
That's the end of hard gassed. That's it. So I want to. That was okay. So the advent of MTGO was the first big topic, and we started to go into it. And now this is the second big topic I wanted to talk to you about.
Oh boy.
Which was cultivation of a pre-modern scene, and getting it.
Oh yeah.
Getting it off the ground. So you live in Detroit metropolitan area.
Specifically Westland, so about 30 minutes out of the city, but it's like any metro area. I'm in one of the cities that the people who work in Detroit live in.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
And I recently had an experience of firing a pre-modern event in Grand Rapids, which is
you did
on the other side of the state. So
we had some players from this side of the state actually travel all the way over to the other side.
Yeah, well, they were in the middle. There were like two.
Oh yeah, Lansing. That's true. Darian Balzer.
Yeah.
Shout out Darian Balzer if you're listening to Heartcast.
Yes. He crushed me in round 1 of your event. And I think I think he went like 2-1 in the event that I helped kick off. So, dear listeners, if you're looking to, my story is shorter, so I'll kick this off. But listeners, if you're looking to kick off a pre-modern scene in your area, this is the short, sweet way how to do it. It was not easy, but it was clear. So I called up a store that I had been to a couple of times. They didn't know me, but I go there and I like rip through their bulk bin whenever I have to go to Grand Rapids for work. And I called the store and I said, "Hey, do y'all ever fire pre-modern?" And they said, "No, not really." And then what I did is I invoked a pre-existing relationship. So listeners, you might have that because you're a regular at your store, because maybe you draft there once a week, or maybe you're part of their legacy or commander scene or whatever. So I said, "Hey, can I talk to your event scheduler?" "Sure." I said, "Hi, I am part of this pre-modern group. We promote pre-modern events. Have you ever heard of LobsterCon?" And he said, "Yes, I have." And I go, "Okay, me and my friends run LobsterCon, or at least did last year and are doing it again this year." And he goes, "Oh, I've heard of y'all." So that was sort of my pre-existing relationship. I didn't know the event manager, but I gave him something to sort of chew on, so I'm just not some rando. I said, "Hey, I have, I'm willing to buff up your prize support. What slots do you have open? I will promote it. What slots do you have open? And like, what would be a reasonable player count to shoot for?" 8. Okay, cool. Let's shoot for 8 players. So I show up and I buff I made a poster and I posted it everywhere, like a little flyer saying where and when. I found some local, like geographically relevant Discords, Facebook, Reddit, blah, blah, blah. And I promoted this event, and then I showed up with, I think I gave away like a bunch of stamped Call of Herds reprints.
Oh, that's cool.
And a Euro basic mountain. I think it was the Vesuvio.
Oh,
yeah, which is like it's
nice.
like $12
That's
or
awesome.
something like that. I just gave it away randomly, and that was just like
it's just a cool piece to have. That's just awesome.
And just like to hype up players, and that's all it was. And then like 16 people showed up, which is like a really great. Really great
if you're
first
not
kick.
from New England, that's an insanely good first event. That's like phenomenal.
Yeah, and I just blew up the some like the relevant Grand Rapids Discord. I said, hey, if y'all want this to happen, tell your homies. If you can't go, tell your homies. If you can go, bring a friend. And that's kind of all there was to it. And it was really fun. We played 3-4 rounds. I think I went 3-1. I brought some spare decks and lent them out.
Yes, that's the stuff.
Yeah, nobody stole from me. Other people brought spare decks. And it was like a really good experience. So I've spoken for too long. So how did you get? My understanding is that you are a plank holder, if you will, that you did some of the initial bedrock laying to get pre-modern kicked off in your area.
So I kind of dipped into it a little bit in the previous topic we were covering. But to go in deeper, before I do that, by the way, for anyone who just listened to Billy talk about how he set up the event, from my perspective, it was nice to hear it from behind the scenes, because from my perspective, over the course of like 2 or 3 hours, Billy was like, hey, I'm going to do this thing. What do you think? Oh, that seems like it could work. And then within the hour, he's like, it's set up. Here's the time, date, flyer. I was like, what? That was so fast. How did you do that fast? That was incredible. So that was impressive. That was really cool that you set up. Like, that place didn't have a scene up to this point, and you fired it off with a bigger group than we had for our first event. Oh, they had some. I'm not aware.
A little bit.
For anyone who doesn't know how Michigan is, we are Grand Rapids and Detroit are on opposite sides of the state. So it takes like 2.5 hours to get there from where I'm at. But locally, this scene here, I did start it from literally zero. Like the conversation that eventually led to us having like great sizable biweekly events and championship series that are seasonal. Like we've got our next one coming up in March. A lot of the Ohio guys even come up for those, which is super cool because they also have a wonderful booming scene in Ohio, which is nice. It's lucky for us because we're close enough that we can kind of like be a little parasitic and like draw their players in, which is helpful. But it was literally multiple conversations and observations because I was like very nervous going in because I had seen I started watching Andrew Heavy Play. Shout out Andrew Heavy Play. Phenomenal work that guy does. And just like looking at all like the thing that struck me first, because at the amount of time it took me to find out pre-modern exists and then start trying to fire it locally, there was only a couple months in between those two things happening. So the first thing I did was I reached out to the Portland scene directly because I had an in with Andrew. I had been watching his content. I built some small rapport, and I asked hey, how do you even do this? Like, how do I fire off an event? He referred me to David Cross, one of the operating TOs for the Portland pre-modern scene, and he kind of gave me all the deets, and then I just ran with that. So luckily, much like you, Billy, I had an in with the store, Pandemonium Games and Hobbies. I've been playing there since I was not old enough to drink. I'm a 33-year-old man now, so it's been my entire adult life. So it was a pretty easy ask. And then the first event was maybe 12 people, and then it dipped down and up and down and up. But once we had built our base core 20 players that really enjoyed it, and then it also helps that we have a Discord community, so we've got multiple artists who alter cards, multiple people donating to the prize support, and then it became this thing where I would say that I, with my bare hands, willed it into existence. But then once the rest of the key people were there, it would easily live without me now. There are easily enough killer dudes that would just hold this whole thing together just fine without me, which was the goal. That was the goal. But I think it's the same story everyone has, man. And I had a bunch of friends, and we all wanted to play pre-modern, so we just forced it. We just forced it into existence, and it worked. We got a little lucky because we've got a really good scene in here for Magic in general. And then I'm probably like you, insane and buy too many cards. So I always bring 3 or 4 lender decks with me. I have not had to give one out in months, though. And everyone's actually bought into the format now, so yeah, that's cool.
Cool.
I hope somewhere in that rant I answered your question, Billy.
No,
I'm so sorry if I didn't.
you
I have a
totally
rambling
did.
problem. Okay, good.
It's a that's why I rambled too, is because it's narratively you have to do it in one bite.
Yeah.
So that was, let's see here. So let me think. Maybe I can get another one scheduled. I should be going back there in like a month.
If it's in a month, I may be able to make that one. Unfortunately, The weekend you picked was the one weekend I had to not play pre-modern, because I had played pre-modern the 3 weekends before, and then up until the Buckeye Brawl, I haven't had a break. I had to take a weekend to work.
Yeah,
that's the only reason I didn't come out to that.
Got it. Word. Let me think. Yeah, I might be able to make yours. We'll see. It depends on. It depends.
Let me know.
On
that would be cool.
Yeah. It really depends on.
Well, I mean, you have my contact now. You can just hit me up.
Yeah.
Let me know what's going on.
So okay. So then let me think. I think I went 3-1 in mine. I played like a more chill, kind of like I think I played like Mongoose and Werebear, just like a really super like 2022 version of Terrageddon, because I didn't want to like. It wasn't the point.
Oh, the thresholdy version. Yeah. Much more kitchen table-y than the more modernized versions of the deck.
And then I went to your event and I built something more. At that point, it wasn't about having a good social experience. It was about, I had wanted to show up and been like, fuck yeah, Massachusetts to rescue. Like, bruh. And I got spanked. I went 1-3-1. And I think I was just like what I thought was good was actually just teched for New England. And I was like way off, bro. It was like
our metagame's interesting. It's kind of wide here.
That was exactly
from everything I've heard. The New England metagame I heard is like, it's very reflective of the best things you could be doing, or the perceived best things you could be doing in a metagame in general, armed by players who know how to do it very well, creating an environment where there's like rules of engagement to even be able to play the game there. Here, it's a little bit open, but the players are still of a reasonably high caliber.
I noticed was that the New England meta is very what would appeal to a legacy player. And
that makes sense. Well, you guys have a lot of like rescued legacy players as pre-modern players, right?
Exactly. And also a lot of rescued vintage players, which is kind of vintage weirdly lived on in New England, where it like withered away everywhere else.
Interesting.
Yeah, we
don't have any vintage here. None.
Yeah, we in Connecticut, there's still like a no proxy vintage event that fires once a year.
That fires with no proxy?
Yep.
That's crazier than having a no proxy old school event fire.
They still give away.
You want to talk about a club?
Yeah. They still give away P9, like a set of Power 9.
Wow.
Yeah. You know how much door is?
That's insane. No, I have no clue.
$500. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. People
It's a different world they're living in.
Yeah. People wear suits and ties to it and shit. Okay.
Good for them though. If they're happy,
for them.
I'm happy.
Good for them. I'm happy for them. I'm really happy for them.
Yeah.
But your scene has, I think it was more originated in Pauper. I think, don't you have like an insane Pauper hub there?
We have a store near us called RW Games and Hobbies, and they have the Pauper that comes out of there is enormous. They do this like whole championship series, and they're partnered with NRG, Nerd Rage Gaming from Chicago. So they have a whole circuit that they do. That's not even just at the LGS RW, but because that's local to us, we've got a huge Pauper scene, and because we have a huge Pauper scene, which is the least conventional contemporary format.
Yeah.
That a lot of our players are players who play Pauper but don't really want to play Modern or Standard, and then they're like, oh, let me go see what this other format where I can buy cards that will probably be legal for as long as I own them, and I can just not keep buying new cards every time a format rotates. And so I'd say like a quarter to a third of our players are just like double queuers who are playing Pauper and Pre-Modern, which is, you're welcome. You can absolutely do that. We love Pauper players because Pauper players typically are good hangs. They're
that's my
generally
perception.
pretty chill.
Yeah. I thought of Pauper as like the only Pauper scene that I'm aware of is in it's funny, it's in the Pandemonium in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and they have a weekly
I've heard of that place.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And I always thought of Pauper as the format for like well-adjusted people, because it's like you might be an attorney or a parent or an EMT, or like have some like real life shit that you have chosen to commit more of your life to, and then you can just come back to the format when you're ready and spend $80 and get the tier 1 deck, and as long as it doesn't have as long as you have your Lotus Petals, which are still only
exactly your $30 Lotus Petals.
Which is like they've been good in the format forever, and they'll continue to be good in the format, so that's not a big deal. It's the Pauper power, right? Cool. So I went to your event and I went 1-3-1. I lost to that Adrian guy. He is a socially fluent guy. I enjoyed playing against him. Very, very gracious winner. Good player. And I played some other folks. Saw some dude wearing a scowl hat for the hardcore punks out here.
Very sick.
Yeah. And then so for context, I flew in and out of Detroit and then drove across the state for work for Grand Rapids, because it's kind of the same whether I like sit and wait in an airport or whether I drive. Like it's a 2-hour drive, or I can wait an hour for my flight from Detroit to Grand Rapids, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, so I got to go and play in your studio, which I was very impressed by your rig.
Yeah, that was super fun, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's a cool rig. I had a good time. It was a blast. People like the videos too. They really loved watching you cave my face. And spoilers, if you haven't seen those videos, I lost a lot. I mean, the coolest
thing I did was dominate a worm.
I was on mains, and you said that I could go first both games. So I was on like I was on my main, and then I was on a brew that like one of my closest friends who plays the same decks as me, he just top 8'd like a pretty competitive tournament with. So it was like some like real tuned shit, and you were on like more exploratory shit. Just jamming some counter burn and stuff. They were very fun games. They made for great videos, and you seem to have a very good knowledge of these Terravore / quiet speculation based decks. It's called having no range, no range. That's what they call me.
But you don't need range if you're good at least the thing, right? The thing that you want to do. I don't have a lot of range either. I just have to like try as hard as I can to pretend that I do for the channel. But if I didn't make content, I'm a one deck player. I would just go infinitely deep on one deck. That's the way I usually enjoy the game. But it was nice to have a player super versed, because like my buddy Max is pretty good at TGED, but he only plays pre-modern in the studio. He doesn't get practice outside of the studio. And then I'm not very good at it. So for you to come in and watch the way you played the game, I think it made for some pretty enriching content. If you haven't seen those videos, there's actually some really sweet lines that are present in that video that might even help you develop your ability to, say, play Weathered Wayfarer is a card that I've recently become obsessed with. And there's a lot of really good highlighting on just how good Weathered Wayfarer is if you understand how to utilize the card. Plays a lot like a Planeswalker in pre-modern.
That's very flattering. There was how do I say this? This podcast is probably I don't know, a quarter or a tenth, somewhere around the same amount of reach as you have. So it's more like you're blessing the cast here with your presence.
I appreciate that.
And it was interesting. I have been in Magic videos before, but as a player in a feature match, so I didn't feel quite as invested, but I was like reading those comments, bro, and I was delighted to see that they were as positive as they were. But like anywhere on the internet, like there were people who were critical, and I was like, who is that? Yeah.
It's tough. Sometimes I'll have friends on the channel who have only been on once or twice, and they see some negative comments and they start freaking out. I'm like, no, dude, the best thing you can do is like either ignore it or like fight them, because then there's more comments and that's engagement. So YouTube pushes the video further and I make more money. Actually,
yeah. Okay. So I wanted to. A good thing. I didn't want to like get it in on it publicly. Yeah. Because I didn't.
Oh, that's totally reasonable.
Yeah. I don't like my own YouTube account is still like relatively private-ish. Yeah. It's not part of my like public Magic identity, if that makes sense. And I also
there's some anonymity there.
Yeah, not fully anonymous, but it's not part of the bit. You know, it hasn't been. Yeah. And it was interesting. It was an interesting because I don't make MTGO content and like who comments on Spotify. Hopefully you, dear listener.
Yeah. I don't even know how to comment on Spotify. So if you know how to do that, someone DM me how to do that.
Yeah, it's. I mean, you just I don't know. You can probably figure it out pretty easily. But yeah, occasionally I get a voicemail, which is always pretty fun. Usually it's Carl. Hi, Carl.
Hi, Carl. Yeah. Shout out Carl Winter.
Yeah. Vintage world champion Carl Winter.
Vintage world champion. Was it 2023 that he did that? Was that right?
No, like 2003. Yeah.
Yeah, 2023, 2003, same year, really.
Same year. Think about it. Just a blink of the eye. Cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So your streaming rig was very impressive, and you were very fluent in it. I was very impressed by it. Lots of doodads, and here I am like struggling with the sound interface, trying to make it so like my nostril breathing doesn't get on the mic. Yeah. So did you?
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I've had this rig is something I've been building for the last 6 years.
Sure.
I have an old channel from the old days. When I got into Magic content, it was very much Commander. It was over quarantine for COVID, and me and my friends were like, we want to kind of do something. I won't go into what happened in between there. I don't work with that channel anymore. It was called MTG The Stack. I actually started that channel back when it first came up. It was originally called NeonMushroom, actually, but it gave me a ton of practice and knowledge of how to build something like this for a space as small as the one I have. Because the space actually, in my opinion, it is smaller in real life than it looks on the videos. I think at least when I edit my own videos, I'm like, it looks like that room's bigger than it actually is. It's not very big at all.
I guess I don't have an opinion on that. I guess it does. It's certainly effective.
It does. I'm very lucky. Everything it worked out perfect. I got lucky.
Do I see a hardcast sticker on your boom right there?
Right here? You do. Yeah, it's right next to the Impulse sticker.
I'm so. Oh, there. Look at. Oh, how flattering. How flattering. Okay.
Yeah, man. I think it was Nick who went through the trouble to send me out a patch and some stickers and some rescue stamp dresses. Which shout out Nick. That was super cool of you.
Yeah, he's a homie. He's
for sure.
Yeah, he's like. Let me think. We're recording on the 18th. We're gonna do the regional. So that's like 128 cap. That's happening in like 4 days.
Very excited for the coverage of that, by the way.
Yeah, and
it's very stoked for that.
And now the regionals are getting to be like we're not learning that. We're not frantic about the major key points of it. Like we know we have enough tables. We like. We have enough liquid cash now that we can we don't need to scramble to buy prizes. We have a good relationship with the store. We're not freaking out about the streaming, although Jay is always improving it. But I'm kind of dreading after the regional because it's our last bit of programming until LobsterCon, and man, that it's gonna hit us like a ton of fucking bricks.
LobsterCon's going to be insane this year. I hope you guys are ready. It's going to be crazy.
It's going to be a lot. It's a lot of work, man. It's a lot of work. It's good work. It's enriching. It's definitely the most my feet have hurt in the last 5 years.
I can imagine.
Yeah. It's definitely an intense sensation of joy and satisfaction. It's very enriching. It's incredibly satisfying, but it is a lot of work.
Oh yeah. There's no way it's not. The events, I mean, just watching coverage of the events, you can tell how it looks involved even through the computer screen. I can tell that is very involved what's happening in that room right now, and no one has had rest in at least 8 business hours.
Yeah.
It looks hard.
Yeah. Big changes for me this year is I'm taking not just Sunday off, but also probably the following Monday off just to recover.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Get yourself recover. You need to do that after all that. That's a lot to take on at once. Good luck with that. I'm stoked to see how it goes.
Have you ever? I don't think you've been to a LobsterCon yet, have you?
I have not. This would have been the first year I would try to go, but as many other players, we were not aware of the popularity that it would have, which is a lot, like so much.
We are looking. So this is not an official statement. This is just me musing because I trust you, listeners. So don't come back at me. But
you guys don't oust Billy. He didn't do anything wrong.
We are looking at what expansion could look like and what the feasibility of that is. I know more than I can say, but that is like expanding is like a major concern and is probably our largest concern, and like what that looks like.
I know the roots of LobsterCon are the Dante, right? And
yes.
I don't know a ton about the venue, but I know that like people seem to be very, especially players who are like repeat customers. There seems to be a lot of emotion and like loyalty to the venue itself as well.
Yeah. So the Dante is a like an Italian Americans like a heritage society, like a Polish Americans club or what have you, Sons of Italy. And the thing is that the building itself is stunning. It's not stunning, but it's like quite nice. It's not marble or anything, but it's like it's brick, and there's like a mezzanine, and there's like a stage, and it's real wood floors. And it's a bar that's staffed by like venue bar staff. So it's not the same. It's
not like going to your local convention center.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not like a concrete floor and then scaffolding everywhere. It's like, oh, there's paintings on the walls of like Dante Alighieri and like various like figures of like Italian cultural identity. And there's a library filled with, Italian textbooks and like just books in Italian about, because
there's actual factual culture to go with our, attempt at having a very high cultured game we're trying to play as well.
Yes. And because of an established degree of community trust and like we're a known quantity, we can behave with a bit more like liberty. Like if we need to open up some side door because that's the fastest way to get the pizza boxes out to the recycling, I don't have some like event worker saying like, hey, you can't go through that door. It's like oh, it's that guy. Like it's this guy. It's that guy. So there's so much more trust. It's not a big deal for me to like back my car up onto the sidewalk so I can unload cases of t-shirts or something like that. Whereas that would never happen at, I don't know, the Dukakis Center in Pittsburgh. Who the hell is this asshole? So because of that, we can there's more grace and there's more trust, and we can put on a better event. And that's like a real benefit that gets passed on to the attendee experience. And starting from scratch to build that up again, it's a real cost, and it's also it is a loss in value, perceived value for the attendee, and it's an actual like no shit cost. Like
right. Well, the closer you move into like doing the big convention center thing, not only does the cost has to be paid somewhere. That's a lot of money. But also like we've all played Magic. We've all done the thing where you go to, if you're here, you go to like the Suburban Collection Showplace or wherever. It's a fine enough venue, but there's like, it is what it is. It's basically a mega Walmart building. It's just to stop cold air and rain from getting in is its only purpose, and it costs a ton of money, and you are at the mercy of everything else happening that day. It's usually down like deep downtown. It's a lot. It's a lot the second you make a move to something like that.
We can do the same experience at a 1,000 cap venue. We can give you the exact same experience at a 1,000 cap venue. Okay, tickets are now $250 and we're paying out in prize tickets.
Yep.
Like that's what you're getting. Yep. And it's like, and there's no booze. Like that, so it's it's difficult to like.
Is it even LobsterCon anymore?
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's not really, right?
Exactly. So it's like none of that is like an official statement. That's just like a vibe expression about like we're dealing with this like very conscientiously.
You bring up an interesting point though, which is that like pre-modern I think is best. But so one thing, I haven't fully announced it. This is another thing. Give me some levity, Duress Crew viewers. Nothing is perfectly planned, but we are planning a early spring event that's going to be like a very large tournament. We're looking at like 100-player cat, very similar to the Buckeye Brawl, and it's going to have a 2-slot invitation to the Rose City Championship next year.
Yes.
That, in my head, is the biggest event I'd want to attend for pre-modern, because pre-modern, I'm actually a little bummed out I didn't get in earlier, because don't get me wrong, if you want to go to some big 1,000-person event, that's fine. But I think, to me, when I heard about LobsterCon last year and saw the size of it, I'm like, what a perfect largest event of the year. I think that's what a largest pre-modern event should look like, because I think pre-modern is best played in at least somewhat more intimate settings with people who you know on a first name basis and all that.
Mm-hmm.
If I want to go to a freaking RC, I'll go qualify for an RC and go play with 2,000 people or whatever. I'm old, Billy. I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I want to go home tonight, actually, is the thing.
Yeah.
So.
It's one can only have so many like close homies. Like if you have 400 close homies, you don't have close homies. You have 400 acquaintances.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's a cost. Listener, if you want to fix this, start your own scene and start your own like charity events and all this stuff.
Please do.
With drinking
do all that.
And like get to know the staff. And
because then when we travel, we can go to each other's events, and it can be so cool.
Yeah, and that would be so cool. It won't be quite as frantic to go, like regular people made LobsterCon. Like me and my friends didn't make it, but we inherited it, and we didn't fuck it up the one time we let it. You know, so
most local scenes have a similar story to you or the Portland or the Ohio guys. It's just dudes that decided, let's do it. You know, let's do it, and let's like. Do it the best we can while being the nicest to the most amount of people that we're able to.
Pandemonium in Garden City is a bigger store than the ones we do our regionals at.
Right.
They
actually have a capacity of 400.
Yeah.
It's
like
a pretty good building.
Yeah. Like get a 1-day license from the state and get an off-duty cop to work door. And then maybe you can serve beer. Who knows?
Right. Yeah. That would actually be so cool.
Yeah. You might be able to do that. I don't know. It depends on what the building manager and their insurance says, because the building manager probably has an insurance discount because they know that there's no booze being served. So,
I don't know enough about that, but it sounds like you're right to me. I think that's probably correct.
You could figure it out, or it could just be like,
shout out Cody. I'll just go talk to Cody. I know the guy.
Yeah. Maybe. Who knows? Cool. Or maybe you can just like purchase supplemental insurance. Like we do that for LobsterCon, is we purchase event insurance. So
that's really cool.
Yep. Okay. I think we have hit all of our talking points. Would you like to bring anything up?
No, other than thanks for inviting me on. This is super cool. I like just talking about pre-modern for an hour straight. This is like honestly my favorite thing. So this has been sweet.
Hell yeah, man. Do you have anything that you want to shout out?
Subscribe to Duress Crew. Obviously, you're listening to Duress Crew, and then subscribe to Heavy Play, Andrew Heavy Play. Heavy Play. And me if you want to, but like, I'm just Fluorescent.
You're the guest. All right, so give me the whole thing. Where do you exist?
Here's the spiel.
In Magic on the internet?
I myself, Adrian Hunter is my name, but I myself on the internet am referred to as NeonMushroom, which is what I am on Twitch. NeonMushroom, you can find me. I stream whenever I feel like it. Don't worry about a schedule. And then on YouTube, I'm Fluorescent Fungus. There is a schedule. It's every single day for the last 379 days. And I have no plans to stop anytime soon. So if you want pre-modern content, go there. And if you don't like me, guess what? There's like 16 good pre-modern channels now. So you can actually just dodge me if you want to. Find someone else. Go watch Cyrus. Cyrus from Crucible of Words puts up a pre-modern video a week. They're all awesome. It's going to be great.
Hell yeah.
Thank you guys for listening.
Yeah. And that's been episode XYZ. I don't remember which one of Hardcast. I'm here with Adrian, aka NeonMushroom. And that's a wrap. Thanks for coming on, buddy.
Thanks, Billy. Bye, everybody.
Bye.